Welcome to the Fantasy Goons podcast, part of the Pucks Out family. It's time to skip the book and find out the info you need to win your league with Bobby, Davey, and Brandon.
Welcome into the Fantasy Goons. I'm Bobby. He's Davey. He's Brandon.
Hello.
You can find us on social media over at the Fantasy Goons. Now let's get you the info you need to be a champ. How are you boys today?
Excellent. 3 for 4 this week in fantasy. My Dallas Stars are winning some hockey games finally. It's been pretty good for my world. What about you guys?
Good. I think I dropped one game this week. One of my leagues, I'm 8-0, so I'm feeling good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I dropped one this week, and it was so close. It was like 190 to 187.
Yeah.
Tough loss, but overall pretty good. We got a couple of one folk ahead of us in Pekka right now, and then it's us three. So
yeah. Who's where? I don't even know.
I think I'm in third place.
Yeah, Bob's in third. I'm in fourth. I have 136. Bob has 145. You have 148.
Am I in second?
Second. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
who's in first?
my buddy Will.
Okay.
He's like 168.
Nice.
He's dominating. So
I'm looking at hopefully being 9-0 in one of our leagues. Because I got you in that league and high score league.
God, I got lit in high score this week. Man, tough round for me that time.
Yeah.
we will see what we can do in that, Bob, because I'm, right behind you at number 2. So
Yeah,
I'm
should be a good matchup.
Not too worried about you, for being honest. Big win in fantasy basketball for me, but we're not here to talk about that. So,
did I draw? I didn't even look at my fantasy basketball week.
Don't know.
Yeah,
don't know. I beat Sass. Pretty dominant performance.
Nice work.
Second place here. So, not going to be looking back.
Nice.
I think this is the point where I just moved right into the championship.
I think, are you in first place in that league or am I? I think I dropped 2 games.
Second, we're tied. Me and Sass are tied for first.
Oh, I thought I was. I guess I dropped 2 games, so I guess I fell down to third.
Yeah,
then.
you're tied for first as well. There's 4 people at 5 and 2.
At that
so
point,
points are.
Okay, I was saying at that point we're tied for second when there's that many people tied for first.
Yeah, well, it's a point thing. So
Yeah.
it's Sassa, me, you.
Okay.
And then
But all right, some news. Didn't put on the dock. We had some coaching changes for the Flyers, for Vancouver. Nathan McKinnon's on his way back, so that should be good. So I'm excited. We're about quarter way through the season now, boys.
Yeah. No, yes, it's fun. We're starting to see some teams come together. We're starting to see some teams fall apart. I think we're all kind of, I don't know, I can't decide if we projected things to be where they're at right now, but I think there's a couple teams that are still surprising us, but it's fun. I like this point of the season.
Yeah. Weekly impressions. I forgot to fill this out.
I
looked over it and I just
you
forgot.
just stole Davey and
Yeah.
mine, is what you did. This is news, even though we've done our part of it and you've stolen it. I guess you haven't been doing this for a while, and that's why. See, this is why we gave him such a hard time.
This is payback.
He wasn't here.
This is payback.
You're garbage human.
No, I just ultimately for mine, it was just the 2 coach firings. I mean, Flyers and Canucks both rid their coach. Canucks get rid of their GM. I don't ever know when the right time is to part ways with coaches, but I feel like it is right around this time, right? Going into the new year almost is when we start to see it a lot.
Yeah.
After all, you have to blame somebody and shake some things up, and it's usually the coach that takes that fall. But yeah, I feel like, do you think this is it? Do you think we're going to see more this season?
Oh, we'll definitely see more.
Yeah, no
This
doubt.
is the NHL. I mean, obviously we're going to see more.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know where that would be coming from. I mean, these 2 teams are honestly the teams that you would expect to do this. I mean, both teams, people thought they'd be okay this year. They'd come in and they'd be a little better than they were, and they have not been. So
yeah, water bet wise, like I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you are.
You're killing it. You're killing it.
I will say, since I didn't have a good impression, the Detroit, they are currently on a 5-game win streak.
Wow.
They host Nashville tomorrow. That'll be a day before release. They are just lighting it up, and that's after that's after losing, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4? That's after losing 5 out of the previous 6 before those 5 games.
Yeah,
so they've really turned it around. That's
interesting. This just because you brought it up, I was curious. You've got the Rangers with a 6-game win streak. You've got Detroit with a 5-game win streak. You've got Minnesota with a 6-game win streak. Dallas with a 6-game win streak. So there's some winning streaks starting to come alive here. Yeah. So I like these.
Yeah, I mean, mine is just that. I mean, at this point of the season, you kind of start seeing the great teams separate from that bottom of that pack, where even the bad teams, you're still kind of close numbers wise. Whereas we start getting enough games here, you kind of start to see some separation. So
okay, so let's move into our pickups of the week. I'm going over to Colorado. Valeri Nichushkin.
Valerie Nichushkin. Only reason I know he was a Stars draft pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So old Val. Al's dual eligibility at the wings, 22% rostered. 5 goals over his last 8 games, tied for first on the team at 10.27 for even strength scoring chances per 60 minutes, tied currently with Rantanen. That's a solid dual eligibility guy you can pick up. I think, we talked about in the main show, I think the Avs are going to start coming to their own a little bit. Maybe McKinnon's back, or we're going to see he's starting to come back. So
you think McKinnon coming back drops him off a little bit?
I don't know. I think that
usually so top heavy is the problem there.
I mean,
you may be able to find one.
Yeah, and maybe he does move down a line, but then maybe he's gotten that experience. That experience in that line. Now he's going against another team's 3rd or 4th line. I think that for picking up a guy at 22% rostered, he's a decent pickup. With injuries starting to happen more now this season, I would eye him, but I think that he's, at least for the next couple weeks, he'll be solid.
Yeah, he was drafted 10th overall in the 2013 NHL entry draft. Was supposed to be a star prospect for the Stars. And it was bad.
So Bobby's garbage at evaluating talent. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, what I'm saying is he was garbage for Dallas. Dropped him. Joe Sakic picked him up, and I forget what year he was.
Do you think that
was paying off?
You think that was on purpose?
I mean, I don't know.
He's like, don't want to be here. I'm gonna pretend like I'm bad at hockey.
It's very possible, but there was at one point where he had 1 point. And he was playing like every game, and that's when they got rid of him, and it was terrible. And I completely ruled him out for fantasy purposes. And now he's starting to show up. He's starting to play good hockey, and he's playing for a good team, and that helps. But
Bobby picks trash players. We all knew that. We all knew that.
He does, but
it's not.
But watch him tear it up now. You know?
Bon, what do you got?
I have Kyle Okposo. I think he's a forgotten man. Being the fact that he's up there in Buffalo, and they started strong and they really fell off. But over the last month, I don't love this portion. Right wing only capability. So, but over the last month, 3 goals, 8 assists, 2 power play points, 29 shots on goal, 11 hits, 6 blocks. And that's just this last month. I mean, that's some decent stats over the month for a 7% rostered guy.
No doubt.
3 games this week. I think you can find some value in a couple of different styles of leagues. So that's where I'm looking. I loved your pick that you're going to tell us about. Yeah. I had another guy on that team that I'll bring up. But I didn't pull the trigger on because of their amount of games that they have coming up.
That's one of the only things here with mine is there isn't a whole lot of games here, but we're starting to see a lot out of him as a young player here. He's Sonny Milano for Anaheim Ducks, left wing, right wing capabilities, 6 goals, 11 assists, 6 power play points. So that was a stat that really grabbed me. Struggling with power play in one of my leagues, so I needed him. Yeah.
Now, not sorry to interrupt you, but if you are listening to this, right when this drops, they have 5 games this week, which means they should still have about 2 or 3 games left after dropping. So if you're quick on the trigger, you can go out and get these Ducks guys and possibly get some quality out of them and stash them during next week.
That my opinion there is just if you're using this for the 13th.
And that's kind of what this is. And so there is only a couple games that week, but if you are on the ball and you grab them right now, go do it. There's still some
push
games.
It through.
Yeah,
exactly.
And pick them up because and other guys might try and wait after the week. So if you can get them before other people do, because people don't want to pick up a guy who only has 2 games in a week. But we'll try and get him next week. Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's playing first line as well as second power play unit, and he actually this week just cracked NHL's Fantasy Hockey Top 100 Forward rankings. He's at number 100. So there we go. I mean, he's moving up.
That's awesome. A guy I was looking at Lundstrom.
Yeah.
The center left wing. I was like, oh yeah, but then I was like, oh well, since it's next week, they're not gonna have a ton of games.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton
but
of
I
sense.
mean, injuries have kind of really hit that team all at once. So I mean, Raquel has been back for a little bit. That might be a place that I'm going to look at. I mean, he's got 8 goals already since returning. I mean, a guy that has traditionally been pretty good, and Colorado. Logan O'Connor. I mean, that might be a guy that actually gets some playing time over Bobby's garbage pick. That's just what I'm looking at.
And a guy I didn't put on here simply because of the 2 games. And if you are quick on the trigger, a guy that I did pick up. I picked up in one league. I had some injury spots. I wouldn't drop any of my guys for him, but I did actually drop Ryan Pulak. It's in a league where my IR spot's filled, and I just can't keep taking up a spot with Ryan Pulak. So I dropped Pulak and picked up his last name? Jamie Drysdale.
Jeremy Jam
Drysdale.
Yeah, Drysdale. Yeah, with the Ducks.
Dude, I did something very similar. Remember we talked about? I dropped Polak and then I grabbed Gossespear. I know he plays for Coyotes, but he's actually playing good hockey this year.
Somebody's got to get points there.
I think that's that's literally the move we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, I did it. And then of course. He also went down IR 4 to 6 weeks, so I think it made sense, or whatever, how many weeks it was. But
so that means Drysdale probably will too, because if you drop Pulak for someone, it's cursed.
He's cursing you.
Let's move on to stream of the week. I have another player this time. I know usually we do teams, but I'm kind of mixing it up. Michael Bunting, 40% rostered, so he's not going to be available everywhere, but you should be able to see him left wing with the Leafs. He's but the Leafs do have 4 games this week. And Bunting is playing alongside Matthews and Marner, 3 goals and 10 points in the last 7 games, and a +5 during that stretch. If you see other Leafs in the top 6, I would try and snag them if they're available. There's probably not many of those guys available right now, but I like the Leafs this week from a fantasy point of view.
60% of teams in leagues can go get this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean by not everybody can?
Well, yeah, and I'm still technically correct.
Yes. I'm rocking Carolina Hurricanes this week for streams. There's still some options there. It's a good team. Great week filled, excellent hockey coming for them this week. They got the Wild, the Red Wings, the Kings, and the Predators. Should see some good scoring games here. And like I said, there's still players out there available from this Carolina team. Players like Nino Niederreiter, left wing, right wing eligibility, 13% rostered, plays first or second line, typically second power play unit. So he's a guy that's still getting looks there. You got Jordan Stahl. He's just a center, which is unfortunate, but still sometimes you need a center. 26% rostered, also first or second line, typically second power play unit. And there's even guys like Jesper Fast or Seth Jarvis and defenseman Jacob Slavin, who's 41% rostered. So there's still some options out there for Carolina. I like him this week. Go grab him. 4 good games. So I'm riding the Hurricanes.
Love it. Loved that pick. I was thinking about putting them as one of mine, and then I went and checked, and of course you had them. So, mine, the Bruins. I mean, an opportunity to the word that I have here is feast. 4 games: Vegas, Islanders, Canadians, and the Senators. I mean, 3 really games that they should really they need to use to help pull them up in this tough division that they're in and half of the league that they're in. I mean, they need these wins, and I think that they're going to go out and they're going to have a fantastic week, giving them an opportunity to move up and score and all across the board. Use the abilities that the team has as a whole to kind of step it up, and then therefore moves into fantasy production for you.
All right, tailing and fading. I'm tailing the Preds. I usually don't like doing this as a homer point of view, but the Preds are starting to find some momentum. They have a tough line of opponents this week, but should be able to be high-scoring affairs and get it done. They've got games on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And they got Calgary, Colorado, going to Chicago, and then going to Carolina. 3 of those games are going to be tough for them, and this is going to be a litmus test. But I think that from a fantasy point of view, this is good for them. They're going to have to score a lot of goals against these teams, and I think they leave there. I think they split those 4 games. I think they go 2-2.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's the Preds, so I think they're going to drop the Chicago game because it's the Preds, and they'll win against like Calgary, but drop Chicago.
Yeah, beat Calgary. Yeah, man. I'm actually tailing the Toronto Maple Leafs this week. They got 4 games: Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle. 2 games early against tough Canadian teams, then on to easier options in the Canucks and Kraken. Take a look at some depth guys for these two from these last 2 games of the week. There could be opportunities that open up for some of these younger and back half players. They might start putting them forward, trying different line combos just to mess things up, just to mess around a little bit, I should say. They've traditionally done things like that, so I could see that happening. But yeah, I'm going Toronto Maple Leafs. I just feel like it's going to be a good week. They're playing great hockey right now, and I'm going them.
Okay.
I'm going with the Calgary Flames. 4 games: Blackhawks, Preds, Leafs, and Blue Jackets. Some good teams, but they've just been playing really good hockey. I mean, it's hard to turn your nose up at them. I don't think that any of these 4 teams present problems that wouldn't allow for scoring of any kind. So I'm looking there in Calgary for my my team that I'm tailing.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'm moving right into the fades. Islanders right now. I mean, I feel like that's enough said, but I'm gonna say a little more. I mean, I think, Bobby, you said a 11-game losing streak right now. That's not good. Generally, you want to have that not happen.
Yeah.
And so when you're losing 11 games in a row, that means that's 11 games that you're not winning.
And they haven't won one on their new pond yet. Their new arena.
They have not. It doesn't sound like they've won one in a lot of places, Dave.
Yeah, I know, but they have not won a game in the new arena. I hate it.
Tell you what, though, our preseason bet that we put down, we both put money on the Islanders winning the cup.
Yeah,
so I'm sure now we might be able to get more valuable.
It's
odds.
not looking good unless you want to double down on it, like you're saying, and go and throw more money on it. It wasn't a lot of money, but I mean, it's now not my money. I feel like it'll sit out there for a while.
It will.
And just the time value of money on this Islanders bet is not looking good for either me or the casino. They should just take it at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
But in all seriousness, 3 games this week. They've been playing bad hockey. Even the guys that you expect to get something from, you're dropping for Shane Gostisbehere.
I've dropped 2 Islanders.
Bad hockey team right now, and not a lot of fantasy.
Yeah. Well, Peugeot, I drafted him in a couple leagues. I dropped him because
he's been serviceable depending on what you need.
Peugeot, I dropped him. I had to. I was like at that point where I was like, you can't win. They're not winning any games. He's really in a minus category. You can't. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, if you got plus minus, for sure, get him out of there. I think there's some leagues that count points for face-off leagues. I think he's been okay in there. He's usually pretty dominant. But I mean, it's not a guy that I'm going and seeking out to find if he's available in my league.
He's a 99% rostered guy dang near last year, like maybe 90s, but it's crazy to think about.
There was a lot of guys on that team that were
true.
That are probably not even on anybody's radar right now.
That's fair.
No loyalty in fantasy hockey these days.
No worries.
These kids these days.
I'm fading the Philadelphia Flyers.
I'm glad you put it in the right spot because when you first put it on the dock, I know we were both, and I was like, because you had it under the tailing, and you were like obvious choice here. I was like, all right, you're gonna have to expand on how the Flyers are the obvious choice for tailing.
He looks up. He's probably like, "What Flyers tailing? What?" No, I moved him around. They're definitely fading this week. They've lost 4 straight
this week.
Every week. Just fired their coach. 3 easier games this week, but the Flyers just aren't playing good hockey. They've got Devils, Canadian Senators. I don't know.
I like getting this. I like getting this fire stirred up. Bob, you think that was like an intentional shot at you because you're garbage at the bet and you're going to lose it for sure? I mean, since you'll be the only one that has not won. You'll have been the only one that hasn't won yours and Davey's bets because I've won it once now. So, I mean, how's that going to make you feel?
Well, bad until next season.
Hey, there's till the next water
That's
bet.
true. Honestly, hey,
Because this is indefinite.
If it makes you feel better, I hope that you both lose again and I get another victory in this.
Thank you.
So,
Because to be fair, like
all you have to do is just not make the playoffs.
Yeah, because at this point, I'm hoping you also lose. Because then it's like, oh, well, then
that's true.
It was never a record bet or anything. It's which team goes further in the playoffs, and if neither of them make it, another W over here, baby, 2-0.
Yeah, he's gonna
but
be
to
like.
be fair, if you're looking at the wording of it, if they lose, if they don't win a single game in the playoffs, if they get swept, they technically did not advance in the playoffs
They
at
advanced
all.
further in the playoffs, though.
They advanced
because they got there.
Not advanced
advancing
in the playoffs.
You ain't technically out. You ain't technicalitying out if
they
your
didn't
team
advance in the
doesn't make
playoffs. I didn't say advance to.
They
the
advanced the furthest in there though because they were there to not win.
They took as many steps
you're not
in the
gonna,
playoffs.
You are, but they went there. They actually took a step into the playoffs, and your team does not. No, bro, that doesn't. You don't. No. I see what you're trying to do
now,
but no, this is not. Look, this isn't some. Oh, we're in the court of law. Like, no, dude, there ain't no technicalities here, bro. We all knew what we meant, and you're done. Okay, you're wet, Bobby. Either way,
it's only a quarter way through the season. So
Yeah.
a long season.
There's 6.
The Blue Jackets still have a chance. The Blue Jackets
Blue
themselves.
team has already fired their coach, Bob.
The Blue Jackets could fire their coach in like month. Okay,
At any minute.
Yeah,
they could.
technically, like it could have already happened. Like 10 minutes
Breaking
ago.
news! It is happening.
I am. What did you have anything left to say about the Flyers?
No, that's all I
No,
have.
nobody ever does.
There's not much there.
I'm fading the Ducks. Only 2 games this week. The quantities just won't be there. I mean, even if you get good quality games from these guys, 2 games in a week is rough. If you got there, don't drop them. Stash them. Play them when they pop up. But it's just I wouldn't suggest picking up any guys for this week specifically.
Yeah, unless you're listening early, then we've talked about a numerous plethora of good options for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if you get them early, some of these guys might be worth even holding through that 2-game week.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
With the way they're playing hockey and the time on ice they're going to get.
But, all right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week, and good luck.
Peace.
This has been the Fantasy Goons podcast, brought to you by Standing Stone Farms. Listen to the boys every week and join in on the conversation on the 3 majors of social media.